In this tutorial, we're going to use Photoshop CC 2020 to review Classroom in a Book Chapter 7. This is part 2 of typography design. So let's go ahead and go back in. When we just left off, we had finished creating the type on a path, kind of the interesting look that she's got going for her, the teasers. So let's go ahead and add some guides. So if you don't have guides showing already, this should be view and rulers. Make sure your rulers are showing. And if it's not on inches, go ahead, right click, make sure it's in inches. We're going to go ahead and go to the left hand side and drag one all the way over to 8 1/4. I'm going to come down a little bit. Oh, darn it. Escape, undo. I can grab that guide up here. Control minus. Grab the guide. Somehow I got the text tool instead. Alright, so go ahead and put that 8.25. Let's go ahead and drag one down at 2 inches right here. And I think you guys already have one. I had to pick this up in the middle. So you probably already have one at 4.25. Alright, so what we're going to do is put those teasers in. Is there an extra? Yeah, there's an extra one right there. I'm going to delete that extra layer on mine. Come on. Alright, so I've got that extra layer taken care of. So what we're going to do first is we've got those guides. Let's do Control S and save what we've got so far. We're going to go ahead and add some information from a sticky note. So our content for this one is actually on this sticky note. Now the book tells you to double click and get it to open. I can never get it to open. So we're going to go ahead and go up to the window and come down here to Notes. And within Notes you will see some information, some text here. So we're going to go ahead and do a select all and do a copy. We can go ahead and make that small. Let's go ahead and grab our type tool. We're going to do a horizontal type tool and hit shift and drag. And we're going to go ahead and resize this box. So once you hit that guide, let go of the mouse, let go of the other. Let's go ahead and go into our width. Should be about 4 inches. Our height, we're going to go ahead and make 8. And for our character, I'm going to shrink this down just a little bit. We're going to go ahead, it should be Myriad Pro, should be regular, should be 70 points, the leading should be 55, the tracking, space between those letters should be about 50, and the color should be white. Alright, so FFF and OK. And I'm going to go ahead and do a Control V and paste in the treasured issue. Now it's okay that we are missing some of the information. If you don't have it already, make sure your text is right aligned over here on the top. And we're going to go ahead and resize part of that so that the rest of it will fit. So let's go ahead and select the, under the trend issue, let's go ahead and scroll down. Instead of making this 8 inches, let's go ahead and make it 12. Make it nice and long. Well, we can't see it off the pasteboard, so let's go ahead and move this just a little bit. Alright, so I've got what's hot, must-have apps. So let's go ahead with our type tool and select what we've got so far. Should take it all the way down. Let's go ahead and make it Myriad Pro Regular. And our font size is going to be 22. And our leading, so it's our space between our rows, is going to go ahead and be 28. And our tracking is going to be 0. So you can see we missed one, so let's grab that home hard drives 3G and do it one more time. I don't know why it wouldn't let us grab the whole thing at once. My computer's giving me fits today. I'm not sure why. Alright, let's go ahead, go back into here, grab that text tool. Alright, so I'm going to grab all those at once. We're going to make sure it's Myriad Pro Regular. Let's go ahead and make it font size 22. The leading is 28, so a little bit of space in between. The tracking, remember if you go underneath, our tracking is going to be set at 0. Let's go ahead and grab our more options here on our character and make sure that we're not actually seeing here. Let's go ahead and go to Window and come down and grab Character and deselect this all caps. So it's going to go ahead and make that caps lowercase. And it's looking better. Let's go ahead and grab that top of the trend box and bring it down into to meet our guide. You can nudge it a little bit with your arrows as well. I think my computer needs a reboot. Alright, I'm going to drag it over a little bit. Alright, so let's go ahead and make it so it works a little bit better. So let's go ahead and grab that What's Hot, and with our type tool, let's go ahead and grab What's Not and go ahead and change that font style to bold and the font size up to 28. Now we have to type it in. Alright, now let's grab that word trend and let's go ahead and change the color. Instead of being white, let's go ahead and make it kind of that same green that's in our digital. You can choose any one of the greens in that digital. It's pretty nice. And let's go ahead and close our library and Control S and save what we've got so far. Alright, so you've got quite a few different ways to open type, to change type in Photoshop. Now next thing we're going to do is add a rounded rectangle to put our volume number up here in the top. So let's go ahead and grab our rounded rectangle over here on our tools. Come on. Alright, rounded rectangle. And we're going to go ahead and draw a rectangle in the space above the L. So kind of above here. So that's where we're going to stick it in there. Alright, so in the Properties panel, let's go ahead and set that width as 67 pixels. And let's go ahead, instead of our fill color being that kind of pinky color, let's go ahead and go to find a more of a yellow. So I'm going to just go ahead, I don't remember where we're at as far as this one goes. I've done several tutorials since I picked this one back up. Alright, let's go with this kind of yellow right here. Alright, so I've got it kind of yellow, and we want the stroke set to none. So we've got no stroke. Alright, in the Properties panel, let's go ahead into Properties, and in the bottom quarter radius, we want to go ahead on one of them. We'll go ahead and deselect one. And, oh, no, we want them all to be 0. So let's set it to 0. Now they're all going to change. So if I hit tab, they're going to go to a square. Now what we're going to do is deselect the corner radius. And we want to make this bottom left, this one, 16 pixels. And I'm going to go ahead and tab. And you're going to see we get a rounded rectangle. If I Control plus, I can zoom in. Just on that end. So that's perfect. That's what we want. And let's go ahead and scoot it over. We can grab our move tool and scoot it over to match that guide there. Alright, so once we're pretty close to here, let's go ahead and let's add some vertical text. So make sure we don't have anything selected. Let's go ahead now and grab our vertical type tool. So let's go to our type. We want vertical type tool. We're going to go ahead and put it right up here. We want to press shift and click near the bottom of the one we just created. So we're going to go ahead and click here. And let's go ahead and write volume 9, VOL9. Now we've got a few problems with it, so let's do a Control-All and fix that. So let's go ahead and make it Myriad Pro. Let's make it condensed. We want those letters nice and tight. We want them to be font size 15. I'll type that one in. Our tracking is going to be 10. So our tracking is going to be 10. And our color is going to be black. Black is 000. For a pure black, and say OK. Alright, and I'm happy with that. Now all I have to do is grab that move tool and kind of center it in the middle of that box. I'm going to go ahead and add an extra space in between because I don't like the volume sitting on top of the 9. Let's add another space in between. So go down, let's add a space. Alright, much better. Alright, let's go ahead and close that up. Control S and save. Now, you're going to go ahead and clean it up a bit. You want to go ahead and go back to your Notes tool, and you can go down here to Notes, and you can throw that one away. So go ahead and go to the garbage can and throw your notes away. We're going to go ahead and hide the guides. So View, and let's go Clear Guides. So it's going to get rid of all those. I'm going to do a View. Let's do a Fit on Screen so we can see the whole thing that we've created all at once. And we're going to go ahead and do a Control S and save what we've got. Now let's go ahead and flatten it. So let's do a copy. Let's do File, Save As. And instead of just Chapter 7, we want Chapter 7 flat. .psd and save. Alright, I'm going to go ahead in my flat one. I'm going to go up here to Layer. I want to come down and do Flatten Image. It's going to go ahead and make that whole thing one single image instead of having multiple, which will make it a little bit easier to submit and work with going forward. So go ahead and do a Control S and save that one. The last little bit of this chapter is a little bit about using match fonts. So let's go ahead and go File and Open and grab that match font.psd. And this is actually kind of a newer part of InDesign or Photoshop. Switch back to, and I'm going to grab my selection tool. I'm going to go ahead and grab my selection tool and go around that Premiere issue. So maybe I want to make sure I use that same font somewhere else, but maybe it's a PDF, maybe it's something that I can't get in and see what it is. If I go to Type and come down here to Match Font, it will actually go through and figure out which fonts are available and which ones that are close that you could use from available on Adobe. So you could download those as well. So you've got, quite a few different choices here, and I would guess it's probably this Snell roundhand. So it makes it a little bit easier. Maybe you're trying to match a font for something, and it's a nice new element that people sometimes forget is there. Make sure you turn in that PSD, and I look forward to seeing your covers.